The Cost of Discipleship by Dietrich Bonhoeffer is a book about discipleship, but not just reading the Bible and claiming ourselves as Christians. Bonhoeffer takes discipleship as Jesus meant it, breaking it down to what truly makes a disciple. It posits that true Christianity recognizes the concept of costly grace, that is, grace that came at the cost of Christ himself. And when Christians recognize that costly grace, they are compelled to submit themselves to Christ and to his ways. Bonhoeffer then explores every avenue through which submission to Christ changes us. In our efforts to attain righteousness, we realize that true righteousness is impossible on our own strength, but is and always will be a gift from God. Page 125. In our relationship to our brothers and sisters in Christ, we realize that it is impossible to be in communion with God when we are not reconciled with our brethren. Page 129. In how we treat each other, we realize that our guides to our actions must always be in how Christ treats us, not in how others treat us. Page 148. In our effort to be humble, we realize that true humility comes in doing our actions for the sake of Christ and for those around us, and never for our own sake. Page 158. In our understanding of our own salvation, we realize that it was not, is not, and never will be our own works which save us, but always Christ's word. It was Christ's sacrifice which made atonement possible, and thus it is Christ and Christ alone who can offer us the grace and forgiveness which saves us, in page 195. In our understanding of the church, we realize that we are the extension of Christ on earth, and as such it is vital that we are Christ-like in everything we do, both individually and as a body, page 247. And in our understanding of our sin, we realize that it was our attempts to justify our own salvation, our attempts to earn and achieve salvation by ourselves, that caused us to sin and be separated from God. Page 298 and 299. There are two insights from this book which I can apply to my own life. The first is the idea of costly grace. The idea of costly grace is that God's grace that he gives us is grace that cost him so much. And in this idea more affirmed an opinion that I had than created a new one. It affirmed the idea that true Christianity comes not from earning our own salvation, but from loving Christ and letting that change us. If we are true Christians, we understand that costly grace, and our understanding of that grace and our love for Christ makes us want to be more Christ-like. It helps me explain why I do what I do, and it helps affirm my struggle to stay pure every day. It helps me to stay strong even when I feel like giving up. The second concept is righteousness. This book helped me realize that God calls us to be righteous, but not without providing a way for us to be righteous. Not that we can attain righteousness on our own strength, but God would never call us to be righteous without providing a way for us to attain that righteousness. This both eases my anxiety and provides me a way to battle my own personal sins. When I struggle with temptation and I can't overcome it, I know I can call on God, and he is ready and willing to help me. And in fact, he wants me to rely on him for strength. He wants us to recognize that he is our source, and it's relieving to know that I'm not expected to be perfect, but God will perfect me if I'm willing to release everything to him.